Guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. This is Joker with a face for radio and a voice for print. Today, we're going to talk about where have all the good men gone? These sassy, sophisticated, solvent women say they are struggling to find other halves that can measure up. Now, let me get my disclosures out first and foremost, because if I don't, I always end up getting some hate. So let me start here. If you're a 30, 40-year-old woman, 50-year-old woman, 60-year-old woman, you can find men that would like to date you. You probably are worth dating to the right guy. Let me get that out there first. But my point of this video is to explain that when you keep your standards too high, because you're used to men flirting with you and hitting on you and trying to date you, as you age, your solvency and your net worth and all these other things don't matter to the quality men you are looking for, because those quality men also have money. You know, they've also taken care of themselves quite well. And so if a guy's a millionaire, or a guy's got, several $100,000 in the bank and he's doing quite well for himself, and you come up and you say, I own my own house and successful business and car, a guy will think, well, yeah, you should. You're an adult. I mean, we all have to make our money. So you saying, I'm not going to be a leech on you, is not a pro. It is just kind of what it should be. You also saying, look, I go to the gym a couple times a week and I lift 10 pounds 30 times and my arms are flabby down here, but I don't have a big gut. Great. Again, we're talking about that's kind of accepted, or that's kind of desired. And so you coming forward with that as if it's a bonus, no, it's just being normal, being average. Let me jump into the article here before I go on my tangent too far. And so these lovely ladies say, where have all the good men gone? These sassy, sophisticated, solvent women say they are struggling to find halves that can measure up. Now, here's the key words in this. Struggling to find other halves that can measure up. You see, because the men that want them aren't good enough for them. Now, they have Lucy here, who is 46, Julia, 54, Leslie, 52, Laura, 42, and Jane at 48. They say at 48, Jane Townsend is beautiful. Now, let's see, which one's 48 Jane? Okay, Jane's 48 over here. She's not super heavy, but nor is she super slim. I mean, but she's not bad looking for 48, I guess you could say. She's beautiful, independent, and single. She keeps fit, takes great care of her appearance, and is looking for a man who is active, in good shape, articulate, and emotionally open. Okay, fair enough. Given her good looks and vivacious nature, eligible suitors must surely be beating a path to her door. Yet, as Jane from Sheffield explains, it has been a struggle. The men out there are delusional. I went out with a guy who lied about his age, saying he was 47 when he was 50. And then he had the gall to tell me he wanted a younger woman so he, as he could put it, could breed. Okay, so he wanted kids, so he wanted a younger woman. Now, remember, Jane here at 48 is the same age as I am, okay? I personally, this is just me, I personally look at her and feel like she's too old for me. I'm in better shape than she is. I look younger than she does, in my opinion. You may disagree. But, I don't know. I look at her and I feel like I just never even ask her out. And if I did want kids, well, Tony Randall, the TV actor and Oscar, I think he won an Oscar. Tony Randall, I think his last kid he had at 72 or 73 years old. Mick Jagger, I think, got his model 30-year-old, and he's 70-something. Mick Jagger got his 30-something-year-old woman pregnant, I believe. So guys don't have the time limits that women do. Is it fair? No, you could say it's not fair, but it's also nature. It just is what it is. So anyway, she continues on. After my divorce, I gave up my prime dating years to raise my two girls, expecting that when they left home, I'd have time left. But there has been a shift, and now the men aren't there. Where I live, it's hard to find someone cultured unless they're eating yogurt, and the men my age all seem to be, well, more than a little overweight. Not all the men. That's the thing. All the men that she finds available. You see, because if a guy is attractive and he's 48 or 50, think of the actor there in Mad Men. I forget the gentleman's name that played the main title character in Mad Men. He's around that age, but he's tall, he's dark, he's handsome, he's athletic. He's not on dating apps. He's not in the dating market because he can just go to the grocery store and have women drooling over him. He doesn't even have to go online. Women are knocking down his door, and not because he's an actor, but because he's an attractive looking guy. So yeah, the ones that are left, the leftovers as you speak, that are still looking are guys that may not be the cream of the crop. But again, it's not that there aren't men there. It's that the men that are available aren't good enough for me. That's the big takeaway. You have to adjust. You have to adjust your expectations. She says, the writer says, having been matchmaking single men and women for Female's Blind Date column for the past 6 months, I'd like to say Jane's experiences are the exception. But what has struck me is how many attractive women apply who seem to have so much going for them. And here's a picture of the group. And hey, for 40s and 50s, my eyes aren't bleeding. They're not awful. They're in great physical shape. Okay, let's slow down on this. There's a big difference between great physical shape and average. Or I should say what used to be average. Now average is very overweight. But there's a big difference between being in great physical shape and being in good physical shape. Let's be honest. Living full and interesting lives, yet finding suitable men for them to date seems to be a heroic challenge. Again, finding suitable men. See, it's not that there aren't men to date, it's that they're not good enough for me still. This has left me wondering why a generation of single, sexy, solvent women just can't find love. Again, they throw in the word solvent, like, oh, I have money. I have my own income. That is not an attractor to men. We have to have income. We have to be financially stable because there is no big daddy government to help us. Because we can't marry and latch on to a woman that will take care of us. We have to. So for you saying, I'm solvent. I have money. Like, I'm not desperate. I don't need you for your money. That is not an attractive thing. That is, again, like kind of expected. What immediately strikes female midlife daters, of whom I am one, returning to the dating scene later in life after a marriage or long-term relationship, is the lack of single men. According to Joe Hemmings, a beautiful psychologist and dating coach, a behavioral psychologist and dating coach, there are an estimated 7 new women for every man in the dating scene in the 40 to 55 age group. So availability is clearly a big issue. Now, let me tell you why I think this is. Okay, so 7 new women for every man on the dating scene in the 40 to 55 age group. Okay, here's why I think this is happening. Because I fall into the 40 to 55 age group. Number one, we're not dating. After a really bad divorce or breakup or something like that, a lot of that guys say, you know what, I don't need to jump right into another relationship. That's what got me in the problem in the first place. I'm going to take some time, figure out who I am, make sure I'm financially stable. I'll get new hobbies. I'm not interested in dating. Then you've got other guys that say, you know something? Hey, I am going to get back out there and I am dating. I've said this many times. I'll say it again. My last girlfriend was 26. We dated until she was about 28. She was a college student, and she was going for her advanced degree. She didn't have a ton of money. She didn't need to, because I was doing okay. But she had youth, she had vivaciousness and vitality and energy, and she was fun to be with, and that's what a lot of guys are looking for. So the men in the 40 to 55 age group are dating younger. They're not dating in the same age group, and I've said this many times. And it's because they don't have to, especially if they are successful, especially if they do take care of themselves. There are women out there that like older men. There are not a lot of guys that like older women, although there are some that are cougar chasers. So she continues on here. I've had clients coming to me wondering, am I asking too much to find an attractive, independent, solvent guy of my age? she says. As she explains, part of the issue is that when divorce strikes, men and women react different ways. Men's relationships frequently overlap. No, this is not true. This is not true, and I'll tell you why in a second. Men's relationships frequently overlap. They won't leave one partner until they find another, so they're never really single. No, that's what women do. Women find a backup before they move on. Why? Because 80% of the divorces are initiated by women. That means that they find either they're all set, they're ready to be alone, so they're emotionally ready to be alone, and the guy is blindsided in many cases. He doesn't know she was going to file. Or number two, she has another guy that she's already interested in. That's why she wants to leave the previous partner. And again, the guy gets blindsided 80% of the time with the women filing the divorces. But what men can do is men will say, you know something, I'm not ready for anything emotional. I don't need anything emotional. I can, however, and would, however, still like to sleep with a beautiful young woman. And so they can very quickly go back out either on these sugar sites or other dating sites and and they will date down to just get a little bit of action. So they are single. They're just not alone because they're going out and having some fun. By contrast, women take longer to recover from a breakup. This again has been statistically shown. I'm not just making this up off the top of my head. This is not true. Men take longer. Women get over it faster. Women take it harder, but they get over it faster. Men don't take it as hard, but it takes them longer to recover. And again, there are studies on this. I've talked about it in other videos. They often step out of the dating ring completely, sometimes for many years to rebuild their lives or to focus or bringing up their children. Men also step out of it. So I don't know where she's getting this. I don't know if this is opinion or what, but she doesn't cite any studies. When they return to dating, it's really hard for them. There aren't as many men because they have a wider pool. Exactly. Men realize quite quickly that there are far fewer of them than there are women of a similar age. Then they date much younger women, creating a huge void in the market. Exactly my point. And why do they date younger? A, because they can, and B, because, again, when you want to date somebody, you want it to be fun and casual, and the beginning of a relationship is about enjoying yourself, not, hey, let's get serious. And older women tend to be in the, hey, I'm getting older, I need someone to take care of me, I want to settle down, maybe I want to start a family. Some of the women in the 30s, late 30s, and they say, hey, I need to find somebody. Guys say, I don't need to. Like, I could be 60 years old and find a 25-year-old and have a kid if we fell in love. They continue on. Traditionally, women go for men who are their age or slightly older. So they're left wondering where all the men have gone. The men have gone younger. I say this over and over again. And I don't understand how modern women cannot read an article like this and a woman that's in her 30s or later 30s doesn't say, hey, maybe I need to loosen up my standards a little bit and relax them just a little bit. I don't want to settle for a jerk. But maybe find somebody that's a little bit closer to my looks or my success instead of shooting for a rich, powerful, good-looking, tall, athletic guy. And when I do my dating profiles here in a few minutes, you'll kind of see that come through. When Jo coaches women on dating, she tells them to accept the reality. It's just a fact that there is a lack of available decent men, she says. It's tough when you're looking for love. You have to realize that it's not about you. It's just a numbers game. But the numbers don't tell the whole story. Men indoctrinated over generations to pursue younger women are instinctively reluctant to consider those of a similar age to their own, even the ones who look youthful and attractive. Oh, you see, it's indoctrination. Generations. It's the patriarchy. No, the truth of it is in our genes to look, it is in our DNA to look for young, healthy. Why? Because when it comes to being attracted to somebody, women go for tall, athletic, muscular, good-looking men. They want to be with them. Why? Because those are the best genes. That's the best option for procreation, so that they know that the child that they have, and again, this is not me saying something, just making something up. There are studies on this. I talk about this stuff, okay? They want the strong child, and he'll have good DNA, and maybe he'll grow up to be tall and handsome and have all the best advantages in life. In the meantime, they'll want to marry the guy that has a lot of money and will take care of them really well, because then that means that she doesn't have to worry about being out on the street and being hungry, and neither does the kid, and it's comfort for her. So she wants the strong DNA for her kid, and she wants the comfort for her and her kid, although it's very hard to find in one single man. So women are now cheating or having the side deal, not telling the guy it's not their kid and all this other stuff. It's in the genes. Well, in men's DNA, The hourglass figure, right? The big mammaries and the nice wide hips and the nice bubble butt, that's DNA. That's in our genes because it means she'll probably have an easier time feeding the child and having children. Again, there are studies on this stuff. This is not Joker just making up things. I'm not making up stuff. There are studies about this stuff. So when a man looks to a woman and he wants to look for attractive, he looks for symmetry of facial features, which is universal to everyone. So if you have a slightly off nose or your mouth is askew or one eye is lower than another, that has a lot to do with looks. So symmetry is a big thing, and youth for men is a big thing. Firm bodies is a big thing, okay? It's just the science on it. So yes, it's not indoctrination. This is science about this stuff. But again, they're trying to come up with ways to make themselves feel better. It's not me. It's not me aging. It's the patriarchy, and men have been indoctrinated into believing that a woman my age, no, it has nothing to do with it. And look, I have female acquaintances and female dates. I have dated 40-somethings. There's nothing wrong with them, but time is not kind to any of us. And to some of us, it hurts more than others. And that's just the nature of the beast. So it's not saying that the older a woman gets that she's worthless. It just means that, a 40-year-old woman, again, if a 40-something guy can date a woman in her 20s, a 50-something guy. As a matter of fact, I know a woman who's in 28 and she was dating a guy that was 53. He was a successful and she, again, college student. So, until women understand these kind of things, and then the guys that are in their 60s and 70s are dating 50-year-olds. It's the way it works. And if you want to change it, you can't just will it. You can't just will this. It's going to change. That's not how it works. That's not how biology works. That's not how men's attraction works. They just need to get over this stuff. It's something I regularly notice when I set up date. Men need to open their eyes to the amazing women in their own age bracket. Now, she and I are the same age, okay? She has many more crow's feet than I have. Okay, she has a little bit more jowl than I have. And looking at her arms, she's got that flabby skin thing going on, right? So I don't have that. So when I look at her, even though she's my age, she looks old to me. It just does. And now if she were to go to the gym and really firm up, but again, that doesn't do anything. And here's the thing. She might have all those wrinkles from being really sweet, and she smiles a lot. So she has smile lines and crow's feet. That's not a bad thing. But it does show age. Skin does show age. Now, I don't feel that my skin looks old. I don't have a lot of wrinkles around my eyes because I don't walk around grinning like a moron all day. So when I do smile, I don't smile very much, and most of my time is spent alone, so I don't sit here grinning at myself. But I also am not frowning. Again, it bears down to looks, and you can't control this stuff. With the statistics against them, women are motivated to want to look after themselves to make the best of what they have, while there's no incentive for the men to do the same. Hey, we want to look after ourselves, but it's in different ways. It's not pounding on makeup and not going to the gym. A lot of guys still go to the gym. A lot of guys that want quality women go to the gym. The better quality the better I take care of myself, the better quality I bring to a woman. And so I will have better choices. If I'm a better guy, I have better choices. If I let myself go, then, so just because that's the type of guy that's hitting on these women, it doesn't, again, they have to adjust their desires a little bit. She says, and those men who do make an effort, here it is, are in a position to be very choosy. Exactly. Because I don't have a lot of crow's feet. Now, yeah, I may not have a stitch of hair on my head anymore, but nature does what it does. So instead of walking around with a horseshoe like a 1950s sitcom dad, I shave it. Is there anything I can do about this? No. Can I do anything about my height if some women don't like that I'm 5'7"? No. What can I do, though? What can I do to take care of myself? You go to the gym, you eat well, you make sure that you're financially solvent, that you're doing well for yourself, that you have a good personality. And just like they say here, the guys that do that, which are what the women here want, these women want those type of guys, well, they're in the position to be very choosy. Because that 40 or 50-year-old guy that are these women's age, they can date a 20-year-old, 30-year-old, 40-year-old, a 50-year-old. And when they get to be in their 60s, and if they take care of themselves, again, very well and happen to be very good looking and hit the genetic lottery, they can date the 20-year-olds, the 30-year-olds, the 40-year-olds, the 50-year-olds, the 60-year-olds. So, of course, they're going to skew younger because they don't need a woman to have a lot of money and to be financially secure and all these other things if they just want to casually date. Anyway, they continue on. Online dating coach Susie Parkas of Meet Your Match observes a man who has aged well, has a good outlook on life, a joie de vivre, and about him, and who has seemingly done well for himself, is very attractive to his peers. However, for the most part, he is drawn to younger, sexier, more vibrant models. Thank you. That's exactly what I was saying. It has a lot to do with his self-perception in terms of being able to choose who and what he wants in a partner because he has the right to, given that he is in high demand. While good-looking men can pick and choose, attractive women such as Jane effectively become the victims of their drive to remain active and youthful. Women in the over 45 bracket are the biggest buyers of beauty products, accounting for 58% of the market. Last year, the 45 to 54 age group spent an average of £2,200, which is like $3,000 US a year on beauty products, up 4.1% on previous years. Yes, and you can buy beauty products, but guess what? If you do happen to secure a guy and you go home and you have a nice date and you spend some time in the bedroom and you wake up and you happen to bathe and the makeup goes away, he sees what you really look like. You can't fake that stuff. And again, it's not saying that guys will not date a woman that's got some wrinkles, and I've dated lovely, lovely women that have a couple of crow's feet up here, but they were still attractive and they were still fun. But when you're talking about wanting to get into a long-term relationship, a lot of the older women also are the ones that are angry with men and say, hey, he has to come with this. And they have higher expectations because maybe she's been successful. She wants a guy to make good money. A woman that makes $150,000 a year does not want to date a restaurant manager that makes $40,000 a year. Women do not date down like that. So he's got to be good looking. He's got to be tall. He's got to be attractive. He's got to be fit. He's got to make as good a money or better than I am. But that same guy's got to want me. In the meantime, that same guy can go down 20 years. Just is what it is. Okay, and she's got to go to gym classes. Men my age just think they don't have to make up the effort, and they go on complaining about men. I'll leave the link down below if you want to read through the rest of this. I don't want to go on forever about it. But I have a quick little snippet here. This is from a post. I found this on Reddit. Thank you for all the Redditors of the forums that I leak, because they come across these screenshots and post them up. But it says, dating younger men, in parentheses, old. I've noticed that when I was in my mid-30s that I would still get matched in emails from men in their early 30s, right, around your same age. But since I turned 38, I'm getting matched from 45 plus guys I contact who are, she doesn't use any punctuation. But since I turned 38, I'm getting matched from 45 plus. And guys I contact who are even 35 don't respond to me. I still want a family and get married. Have I missed the boat to be with guys my age or younger? She wants guys her age or younger. I mean, come on. We got to be reasonable about this. Reason I want to date a bit younger is because I'd like us to be similar aged parents, not mid-40s. How do you date younger but be similar aged parents? If you dated someone your own age, you'd be similar aged parents. Even the math on that doesn't work out quite right. But she's 38 and she still wants to get married and kids. Okay, so 38, you find a guy, you date for 6 months, maybe a year. Let's say he's fine for getting married quickly. You date for 6 months or a year, you get married. Let's say you start working on the kids right away. You're 40 before you even start trying to have for kids. I don't know the statistics on it, but they fall off a cliff after the age of 35. Again, not me saying this, science. All right, let's move on. You guys get the point, though. It's not that there aren't men available. It's that the men that they want, the men that are the high tier status guys, are dating women that are younger because they can. And this is what happens. We call it an alpha widow. That's an alpha meaning a woman that has dated the alpha guys, the cream of the crop, the good-looking ones, the masculine tall ones. Now, maybe they didn't fall in love. Maybe they didn't date long-term, but they had something fun and casual, and he was the man of their dreams. And after that, the rest of their lives, they go forward thinking they still deserve the same guy. even though as they age and as things change in your lives, that you don't. Look, when I was 20, I had a lot of fun dating. I was a little bit slimmer in the face. I wasn't too bad a looking chap. And as I've aged, things change a little bit. No, but it changes a lot less for men than it does for women, and that's just the fact. Okay, let's move on now to the dating profiles. I have 2 of them for you today, of the day. All right, the first one here is 45. Now, again, if you look at this on paper, it sounds good. But again, you have to read the message in the message. 45, corporate commercial lawyer. So she's successful, she's intelligent. It shows her here riding on a horse. And so I have to assume that she's got a little bit of money, so she's taking care of herself well. She says, they say it takes a minute to find a special person, an hour to appreciate them, a day to love them, and a lifetime to forget them. That sounds like someone that's been hurt. Because if it takes you a day to love them and a lifetime to forget them, that's probably not good. So maybe she has a little heartache in her past. She says she's a lawyer, a property developer, a landlady, and a mom to a string of polo ponies. So she's very successful. Classic style, traditional values, easy on the eye, healthy, positive and kind, just unlucky in love. Well, reading this profile, she sounds like she has a lot to offer. Why hasn't she found love yet? She says 95% of guys are undateable. That's a pretty large chunk of men that are undateable. Post-divorce, yes, a lot of men at your age at 45 are post-divorce. Financially broke. Yes, that's what happens when a man gets divorced. A lot of time he becomes financially broke, but you can thank your fellow women for that. That's not his fault. Emotionally broken or controlled by an ex/kids co-parenting. Yes, she's telling you what divorce does to men, but she's describing it of what happens to men, and afterwards they're not available to date anymore because they have been crushed. She says that, emotionally broken or controlled by the exes and kids. Yes, that's what happens from divorce court, is the ex can control what you do, when you see your kids. You're financially strapped, you're emotionally broken. And because so many men are like this after divorce, they don't want to date. So what does she say? Where have all the good, free-spirited happiness gone? It was crushed by other women. And I'll jump on to one more profile because I think this is of a similar vein. She's 44. She is a teacher. I know this is the site for hookups. My popularity may go right down here, but actually looking for something a little different. Kind of special. Don't message me saying you just want fun. Been there and done that. I'm needing more. Yes, she had all her fun with the bad boys, and now it's time to settle down. No more fun for you. The fun, and the guy reading this that's around my age says, and this is why I date 20-somethings or 30, very young 30-somethings, because the fun is over with you. She says, let's see, come on, there has to be some decent guys out there that are ready to see how good it could be. Someone that's passionate, rich, generous, loyal and honest and sane would be a bonus. Not expecting much. Here's the thing. The minute you say someone has to be passionate, I'm with you. Someone that has to be rich, you're going to lose a lot of guys there, because even if they are rich, they're like, you're a gold digger. Gorgeous. I really can't see your photos, but are you gorgeous, or you just want someone that's gorgeous? Loyal and honest. I'm okay with that. And sane. Yeah, but she says that would be a bonus, not expecting much, eh? So there you have it. You only have to be rich, gorgeous, loyal, honest, sane. And sane's just a bonus at that point. But again, without adjusting, the whole thing of this video is adjust your standards. Adjust your standards. You're not good. It's not as good as it was in your 20s. It'll be a little worse in your 30s. It'll be a little worse in your 40s. And eventually, yes, you will be invisible to the high-quality men because they're dating down below you. Father time is cruel to all, but sometimes it can be cruel to women the most. Guys, if you'd like to support my work, links are below as always. If you have, thank you very much. The best way you can support me is like, comment, share, subscribe. Check out my older videos. Join me over on betterbachelor.locals.com. We've got the forums. You can post over there if you're a supporter. Great community over there of guys. I'll leave it there. This is Better Bachelor. I'm Joker. Remember, it's not that there aren't great guys out there. It's that the great guys have options. And when they're given the option of dating somebody that's older, and maybe that has some issues or some baggage, or they can date somebody that's younger, that's still into the fun and still casual, and hey, let's just have a good time. Guys will always date those girls. Why? Because men want fun too. Men don't want to get married and crawl into a grave. They want to enjoy their lives just as much as they do when they're single.